If you have been using face gua sha for a while, you know that it's a game changer for your skin and your skin health, right? But did you know that gua sha has a sister and her name is Bo Jin? That's Bo, like try saying bowl but swap the W and the O, and then Jin. So it's kind of like if you had a friend Jean and maybe you're like a little upset with her. Jean, stop it. Jean, I told you not to go there. Jean, what are you doing? Okay, now you try it. Bo Jin, what are you doing? Bo Jin. So Bo Jin, like gua sha, is rooted in traditional Chinese medicine, and it's used in a lot of different facial treatments across Asia for its ability to stimulate skin health, better blood flow, better circulation, so that it can really help the tissues underneath your skin be as healthy and supple as they can be, so that your skin can look great and just be great, be in good health great. In this video, I'm going to show you how to do Bo Jin in a 5-minute easy facial lift using Bo Jin and her sister Gua Sha, because the two do work better together. The sisters like to be together. Not only will your skin get a boost, your face get a little lift, but it will also relax your jaw. So go grab your tool, your facial mist, your oil, and let's go. By the way, I'm not an influencer. I'm an acupuncturist and traditional Chinese medicine practitioner, founder of Lanshin, and I specialize in using Chinese medicine to treat skin disorders and cosmetic concerns. My job is kind of like if a cosmetic dermatologist was to use tools like acupuncture, gua sha cupping, moxibustion, Chinese herb to treat skin conditions like acne, rosacea, eczema, psoriasis, and use those same tools to help with anti-aging or well-aging for the face and neck and body, instead of fillers, Botox, surgery, red lifts, steroids, antibiotics, or other pharmaceutical drugs. That's what I do. So the information I give you is through my own training and clinical experience. So in Asia, you'll often see Bo Jin being done alongside gua sha and facial massage. Having good blood flow is so important to our culture that we'll just use any opportunities to get into the tissues, stimulate blood flow, release tension, relax the system, because it's the basis of good health. And you'll even see that in things like haircuts, or like if you get any kind of like hair service at a hair salon, you will be treated to usually one of the most incredible scalp massages, neck massages, shoulder massages, even hand massages sometimes, because that's how important blood flow is for good hair, just like it is for a youthful face and glowing, beautiful skin. In Chinese medicine, we're always trying to help improve the circulation of your blood flow, qi, energy, and fluid. So remember, in Chinese medicine, it's all about your circulation. How amazing is your circulation? How strong, how healthy, how smooth, how flowing is your circulation? So Bo Jin tools usually have a pointy tip like this on one end and a broader tip like this on the other. Whereas Gua Sha tools are usually larger in surface area so that they can cover more surface area on your face, right? So here's an example, and here's another example. So they're larger and then they're also more flat. Whereas Bo Jin tools, they're almost a little more chunky and they contact your body with more of a pointed and rounded sensation, almost like it's your finger, but harder. So I'm going to be using both tools. Actually, I'll be using a tool like this. This is the sculpting spoon. We can call it our Bo Jin tool for today. I'm also going to be using a Gua Sha tool like this. This one is the Lanshin Pro Gua Sha tool that I designed. But if you already have a Gua Sha tool and you don't want to buy another one, you actually can do Bo Jin with your Gua Sha tool. And I'll show you how to do that too. So what's the difference between Gua Sha and Bo Jin? To understand that, let's first look at how they're similar. So Bo Jin and Gua Sha both improve the circulation of blood, qi, which is energy and very important in TCM practice, and fluid, so your total circulation. And they do that by breaking up or releasing the stagnation of your circulation. So just like you can encounter traffic jam at rush hour, your circulation can also encounter traffic jam. And in Chinese medicine, we call that stagnation. And stagnation is involved in many different kinds of disorders, pain conditions, and even with poor aging. You know, when we don't age well, stagnation can be involved. We're obsessed with breaking up stagnation, traffic jams in Chinese medicine. So Gua Sha and Bo Jin are able to help release your internal traffic jams so that your circulation can run really smoothly and effortlessly and healthfully. And you need that in order to have good energy, healthy tissues, and healthy glowing skin. What's the difference then between Gua Sha and Bo Jin? Well, we mentioned earlier that the type of tools used for each are a little different, and Gua Sha technique is more of a single direction, right? One direction at a time, repetitive or repeating stroke. So what we don't really do with Gua Sha, and we really don't see with Gua Sha, is back and forthing like this. This would be pretty horrible Gua Sha technique. We also do this stroking with the flat part of the board as opposed to the edge. Now I'm talking about for face Gua Sha. On the body, we will do something pretty different. Now with Bo Jin technique, they tend to be more circular in motion or zigzagging, so there is a bit of back and forthing, right? And this technique is trying to really get in there, really get into the muscle layer, which is why it's called Bo Jin if you know Chinese. So I think of Bo Jin as kind of like a garden shovel, and Gua Sha is a little bit more like a garden raking tool. So what I mean by that is, imagine that you have a dry and dense piece of soil that you want to plant flowers in. Well, if you try to plant a flower in soil like that, it won't grow because water and nutrients can't get to the root. So what gardeners do is they'll take a shovel and they'll dig up that soil, right? And kind of fluff it up so the soil becomes less dense and packed and more fluffy and soft and supple. So Bo Jin, similar to that garden shovel, is kind of like agitating the soil. So that's kind of like when our tissue or our muscles are really tight and stiff, they can be kind of like that soil. And so we use Bo Jin to get in there and just fluff it up. And that's gonna help our skin receive more nutrients more efficiently. Just like the flower planted in that soil is gonna get better nutrients and more water in looser, supple soil. So obviously we agitate it enough to create a positive impact, but not so much that we're irritating the skin or making it angry. Gua Sha is kind of like a garden rake that comes through to soothe and smooth the soil. So a rake like organizes the soil, right? Smooths it out while continuing to help it fluff and be more supple and be less dense and packed. Does that make sense? So they're both helping the soil, which is your tissues underneath your skin, so that the flower, your skin, can receive nutrients and water better and more efficiently, and therefore be healthier, more vibrant, and healthy. Okay, so first we have to skin prep, starting with a facial hydrating fluid. Here I'm using Marie Veronique's Balancing Hypotonic, which is amazing for really dry skin, good for mature skin as well. You can also use a facial hydrating mist. And here's the key, which very few people do: really work that fluid in as if it's an oil or a serum. Really massage it everywhere into every little crevice. And if you feel dry by the time you've done this, do another round until your skin can remain damp before the next step. Now your skin should be damp so that it can receive this facial oil. So just use a few drops at a time. You can always apply more if you need. I like to rub together in my palms to prep the oil for application. You won't lose oil when you do this, I promise. It really makes for a nice even application of your oil. And again, make sure you're massaging well, really feeling your skin begin to soften and supple, or as I like to say, supplify. So let's check our baseline. Notice how you're feeling before we begin. Maybe take a selfie. I like to start by opening my neck with easy neck and shoulder circles for a minute before I pick up my tool. This is a super easy and express way to open your neck without having to do that full neck Gua Sha routine. And you'd be surprised how far these micro movements go to really help blood flow all the way up to your face, open up the energy channels, and lubricate those stiff, creaky neck joints. Okay, let's go ahead and switch directions. You can also do this in place of lymphatic drainage strokes that a lot of people think you have to do with Gua Sha, which you don't. And I would argue that these neck rolls actually go even further to stimulate overall circulation, including the lymph, blood, and qi. I always tell my students, you can do lymphatic drainage strokes if you like, but you don't have to get the results we're looking for with Gua Sha. Remember, Gua Sha is not a lymphatic drainage technique and doesn't have to play by its rules. If you have a more traditional Bo Jin tool like this one, find the pen tip. Find a tip that looks like one of these if you're using a Gua Sha tool. This is our work area. We're basically gonna hit the jowl, the jaw, and the temple, or the whole side of the face. Acupuncture point stomach 4 is right here at the side of your mouth, where we'll start making these Bo Jin type circles. Now, if you're using a Gua Sha tool, find a pointier side to your tool and place it flat against your skin as you circle. Start moving from the jowl area back towards the jaw. And you can linger here a little longer if you have a lot of jaw tension and TMJ discomfort. Then we're gonna slowly move up towards the temple and really give this area a nice workup. So much tension gathers here. Now let's retrace this path, but try using a Bo Jin zigzag or a back and forth motion. You can zigzag with a Gua Sha tool, but on this part of the face, I personally find it easier to make Bo Jin circles, so I'm going to continue here with that. But you feel free to continue with whichever you prefer, whether it's circles or zigzags. And we'll continue for a minute up and down the side of the face. This is a technique that I use in place of Bo Jin that I use with a Gua Sha tool that I think is even better. It's called Strumming, and it looks like this. I'll make a whole video for you on what strumming is and how to do it exactly, but just to show you, when I'm using my Gua Sha tool, I prefer this strumming technique over using my tool to do Bo Jin circles. It's like a fluffing technique where you like strum the muscles and get a nice vibration out of them, similar to Bo Jin's ability to like kind of get into the muscle layer and gently agitate the stiff muscles or the tough adhesions in the fascia layer. But on the temple, I think strumming is a little bit more difficult and uncomfortable on the temple, so circling strokes with the Gua Sha tool actually does work very nicely and feels really good. So I would do strumming down here on the jaw, on the jowl, right under the cheekbone, and then switch it up into circles here. So that's what I would do over straight Bo Jin with a Gua Sha tool. Use the wider spoon tip of your Bo Jin tool and start making soothing, smoothing Gua Sha strokes starting at your jaw, up across your cheek, and all the way up to your temple. We're going to do this for 1 minute. Now, if you have a Gua Sha tool, this is much easier and a lot less work because your Gua Sha tool is going to cover more surface area. So you're starting at your jaw, and then slowly moving your way up your face, across your cheek and your temple. And see how on this tool, you can cover all of that in one stroke. That's why I love the Lanshin Pro Gua Sha tool. So after Bo Jin really disrupts the tension in our tissues, I find Gua Sha really important to finish with, not only to soothe and smooth the tissue, but that single directional stroking really gives you that sculpted effect. All right, let's finish up on side 2. We'll start at stomach 4 along the mouth and jowl, making Bo Jin circles with whatever tool you're using. And we'll slowly make our way back towards the jaw. Again, if you have discomfort here, you can linger a little longer or slowly move up to the temple. This is a high tension area that, when released well, really helps create that lifted effect, especially at your eye. Now let's come back to the jowl area and try Bo Jin zigzags. Of course, you can continue with Bo Jin circles if you prefer. If you're on a Gua Sha tool, I'm showing you here how I do strumming. It can be a little tricky to get the hang of it first, so let me know if you want an exclusive video on this technique. Switch to circling with your Gua Sha tool as you reach your temple. Now we'll finish with soothing, smoothing, sculpting Gua Sha strokes using the wider spoon tip of your Bo Jin tool, working from your jaw all the way up to your temple. If your arm or shoulder gets tired pulling back towards your ear like this, try switching hands and pushing back towards your ear like this instead. And we'll just keep working like this, moving from the jaw to the cheek to the temple, back to the jaw for 1 minute. And if you're using a Gua Sha tool, stay on that flat side of your tool, working from the jaw up through the cheek and the temple, feeling the beautiful texture of your tool gliding across your skin. This one is in Nephrite, and so it feels super lovely. And I like to come across my temple just like this. We're going to do this for 1 minute. Okay, so now that we're finished, Go ahead and check yourself out. How do you feel? Do you feel better? Do you feel like you see a little bit of a lift or a little bit of a boost, a glow to your skin? If you do, let me know in the comments, and then snap a selfie photo of yourself and send it to us if you like. We love seeing your before and afters. That was just a little Bo Jin bite today where we worked with the jaw and the temple and the side of the face, but really we can work all over the face, on the forehead, on the eyes, on the nasolabial folds, jowls, scalp, neck, and even the body. There's so many places we can go with Bo Jin and Gua Sha. So let me know what you want me to do a video on next. What do you want to learn how to do? Also, if you want to go deeper and follow along with me as I do complete routines for the brows, for nasolabial folds, for the jaw and the jowls, we do offer classes on lanshin.com, so you can go check them out. And they're basically structured similar to a yoga class where for 45 minutes to an hour, you just follow along with the teacher, which is me, in a Gua Sha routine. So definitely check that out. I want to thank you so much for watching, and I want you to know how much I appreciate you for following us, subscribing to us, and being interested in authentic traditional Chinese medicine, which is what we give you here on this channel. We are trained, experienced Chinese medicine practitioners here to share our knowledge with you so that you can thrive and have the health that you deserve.